How's it going, everybody? You do not know what we have done. You do not know what we have been through. It is you boys from the Salty Chip Show, Damian Salty G, Chip K Fabe, reunited, and it feels somewhat warm and good because it's freezing out there in Texas. It's freezing up in the Northeast. I am currently submerged at the Big Gold Belt Cottage, as my friends like to say. Shout out to Big Gold Belt Media. Chip is trapped in the nor'easter up in the Northeast, kind of stuck with his Patriots hat, which I did not make a mention of off air. I will bring that up in a second.
I was waiting for you to do that.
Of course. But we are the Salty Chip Show. For those who don't know us, who know us individually, we came together a few years ago, started to do a show on behalf of New Age Insiders, also with Matt McCool, where we did women's wrestling, covered NXT, and all that good stuff. And then Chip and I kind of sauntered on over to do our own pop culture show. We ran pretty well for about 6 months consistently, and then life took over.
Oh, life definitely took over.
Life took over for him and I moved. He had so many other responsibilities. And here we are trying to at least once a month to revisit those old glory days like your high school gym teacher does. So I know Chip has, it's
That's
true,
gonna be my
right?
next career move. That's gonna be my next career move. You just settled it for me. I'm gonna be a high school gym teacher.
Oh man, dude, when I work at the Y, sometimes that's how I feel. I feel like I'm a gym teacher.
Can we also talk about that super quickly? Not to get super into the why, but
Yeah, yeah.
isn't it's funny that people don't know this, but I can say it now. Is I worked at the Y for 4 years, 3 years, 4 years, whatever it was, and now I'm no longer there, and Damien's there now. So it's kind of funny how our worlds collided,
Overlap.
and now we're overlapping.
Oh, it's so funny because I text you the other day when I was working the floor about some of the sporting events,
Yep, that was
and I'm
my
just
that was my baby. YBL. Do you guys call it YBL out there?
just youth sports. That's all.
Oh, we call it our basketball league. We call it YBL. Fun
Got it.
little pun. We're punny, but I digress.
Yeah, but being there's fun and being able to text you and you're kind of reliving it through me when I text you things like
I'm
what is
living
happening?
vicariously.
Yeah, you're living vicariously through me.
Yep.
But we all formed together basically because we were covering wrestling for a long time, but we did it from a perspective of not a typical super fan, more analytical, more what are we into, what do we like, not about booking because we don't control that and it's a predetermined sport or artwork, so
We
we're not going to
evaluate
get mad about
everything.
that stuff.
Whatever we're given, we evaluate. We're not
Exactly.
we're not here to say, oh, they should have done this. It's no. It's just whatever we get is what we get. There's nothing we can do to change it.
Basically, and we're okay with that. And to be quite frank, that's kind of been our niche, mixing in some weird corny humor because that's what Chip and I do. But I digress. We wanted to jump back into this talking about NXT because, as you all know, I'm a big time women's wrestling aficionado. I have told people that are tired of me telling them that NXT's women's division is the number one thing going in all of wrestling. I can say the women's division of maybe SmackDown as well is pretty dang good. But aside from that, maybe Impact, but NXT women's division top to bottom. When your low tier is Jesse Kamea, who's improving every week,
Yep.
or let's say Indy Hartwell, who's one of the best independent wrestlers before she got signed
Oh, sure.
to WWE, I say that is your go-to. And we decided we were going to cover some NXT because we enjoy it. Caution to some of you later on in this episode, we will be discussing WandaVision, some spoilers if you haven't seen today's episode, if you're watching live streaming on twitch.tv/Damian G Show. We will be talking a little bit about WandaVision. But Tip, enough about me. How's it going, brother?
It's going. As I just kind of alluded to, I'm still on the job hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Pandemic, it's tough. But we'll figure it out. I'm working some odd, we'll say odd jobs. Yeah, for lack of a better term, odd jobs.
Of
It's
course.
very odd for me. But I'm excited. I've had a little bit more time to, and I think I mentioned this last time we got together and did a show. Was I've had time to fall back in love with things I've fallen out of love with,
Okay.
whether that's sports, whether that's comics and all around nerdum type things, video games. I know I definitely talked about that last time we were on the air. When my life kind of went crazy, I lost a lot of passions for things. So it's nice to be able to kind of sit back and revisit things, but I'm just trying to figure everything out. But happy to be here. I'm getting back into wrestling a little bit. If you listen to us in the beginning of Salty Chip days, I was all over the place watching everything: New Japan,
Yep.
Progress, IPW UK, Rev Pro. I've definitely stepped back. I'm kind of a one company pony now. I follow WWE, and that's really about it. But what I'm watching, I'm enjoying. NXT is the one weekly appointment television viewing I have at this point. And Takeover, we'll talk about Takeover more at length later on. But it was nice to be able to sit back and enjoy a show and kind of get that feeling of the real world away again. So, just excited, happy.
Happy is a good word to use because I often remember you and I being burnt out regarding wrestling because we had to watch so much for
Yep.
other responsibilities. And you
Yep.
remember me traveling constantly to cover other shows. It became stressful.
Oh yeah.
It stopped being fun, especially when you and I felt we were obligated to do shows as opposed to wanting to do shows.
Right. On a weekly schedule where it was like,
Yes.
oh no, don't cancel.
Yeah. So it's more of, it was one of those quality over quantity situations now for the
Yep.
both of us.
I
And
think
I
the
can,
dog agrees.
oh yeah, there's dogs here. They're not my dogs. Again, I am submerged at the formerly known as the Big Gold Belt Cottage. I am now hiding out at an undisclosed location like the Ultimate Warrior used to be. But I have heat. I have water. I have my basic necessities thanks to my loving friends who took me in like the vagabond I am and said, "You shall not freeze." And thusly, here I am in a house of two dogs, which has been fun because I'm like the weird dog babysitter whisperer person. So
That was a long. What was it? Say that again.
the dog whisperer babysitter person.
I heard dog lady whisperer talker person. I don't know what I just heard.
I
I'm
could be
sorry.
that too. I'm a lot of things to a lot of people, Chip. You
I
know
think I hear
this.
my garage opening, so I was kind of distracted. I was like, oh, who's in my home?
There's a stranger in your house, man.
Could be my father walking in for all I know. At
Oh
this point
well.
in my life, anybody can just show up.
True, but alas, NXT. You said you watched
Yes,
Takeover.
I did. I did. I went
Well,
into that show with very meh expectations and definitely came out of that feeling differently.
okay. What specifically?
I mean, so the 2 weeks prior to Takeover, I did not watch weekly TV. I just didn't have the time. I was doing other things.
Hmm.
So just a quick glance at the card was like, meh. Gargano and Kushida sounds fun. Cole and Pete Dunne. Cole, I'm sorry. Balor and Pete Dunne, I'm in, of course. But
Of
everything else
course.
was just meh. I like Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez enough. I like. I'm a big fan of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic.
Yes.
MSK wasn't really my jam going into that, but man,
Well,
my mind
because
has
you remember
changed.
them as the Rascals back in TNA
Exactly, and
or
even before
Impact.
that,
Sorry.
when they were traveling the Indies, I think as OI4K or
Hmm. Scott
what
and
was
Greaves.
Yes, thank you. That's exactly the name I was trying to think of when they were in Beyond. So thank you. They were fine. But man, that show started off hot, and it it didn't slow down except for her. And I think we were texting or tweeting about this, except for that women's title match.
Yep.
That was kind of the clunker of the show. But man, that was again, takeovers usually don't disappoint, and that one didn't. And I wasn't expecting to come out of this show with such glowing reviews, but it was really good.
Yeah, and we can really briefly go over it. The women's tag match to start the show. I'm a big fan of Raquel Gonzalez.
Yep.
I have slowly come to appreciate the work she's put in, not even just physically, because if you look at her, she's a specimen, but in ring wise. If you go all the way back to War Games, she was the one that got the pin on Io Shirai after a chokeslam bomb from high above the turnbuckles. So me personally, I thought that was a really good way to like say like this is our next big thing on NXT, and just having her and Nia Jax square off on Wednesday was hilarious. Just because it's like Nia, really go, sit down. Oh wait, your butt hurts. You can't sit down.
Yeah, I mean, we're still doing the my whole thing. It was fun for a hot minute. But
Yeah,
and we've talked about this going back to our glory days. Naya's just not great,
never have
and
been.
it's not that we're calling for anybody to get fired. We're not calling for anybody
We're
to get
not.
released. I just
We're
thought that was
not.
that was weird. But like, you know what I mean. Like, we're not. She's just not good. Like, she's just always there, and nothing Nothing works for me.
Hmm.
Not her, and it's not that I don't. Her appearance bothers me. She's. I don't know why.
Choose
I
your
don't know
words
what it is.
carefully here, Chip.
I am because it's not because I appreciate that she is a big monster. I
Hmm.
appreciate that, but was appearance the right word, or was it kind of more of um, how she's presented?
How she's presented.
Presented is probably the better word for that because I just nothing about her is fun. She's not really that rip you apart monster. Like I guess you would compare if you're comparing monster to monster type thing. I think the most common comparison would be Awesome Kong back in the TNA days.
Hmm.
She's not tearing everybody apart like she did. You know what I
Right.
mean? And that's kind of what I would picture the Nia Jax type character being. But she's just kind of a cowardly heel. We're doing the cowardly heel thing with her, where she could be more than that and also not hurt people.
Well, I think that's the number one thing. We
Yep.
all don't want her to hurt people in ring, and she's known to get a reputation of doing that.
Right.
Poor
And
Kyrie
again, that
Sane
sounds
still
like I'm
hasn't
talking
been
about
seen.
the. I mean, that sounds like I'm talking about the Dana Brooke thing. It's not necessarily that she
Oh no, just
breaks
overall.
Becky Lynch's face. Like,
But to be fair, that her botch is kind of what started the man to be the man even more so
yes,
in
yes. I
that
mean,
moment
Becky might not be where she is without her face being broken, sure,
and
but
bloodied. Yes,
the point is that she still broke her face when
yeah,
that wasn't supposed to happen. You know what I mean?
of course not.
So I think she's just presented wrong. Like she should just be this menacing monster, and she's just kind of the cowardly chicken shit heel that has been in wrestling forever, which works, which still works. I
Right.
mean, it works for Johnny Gargano still, but she's not that. You know what I'm getting
Yeah,
at?
and I actually have a follow up about Gargano. I'm going to get to
Yep.
that, but I'm going to move on to her tag team partner really fast.
Yep.
Shayna Basler's been one of my favorites for a while, and she slowly grew on me when she first debuted. I had followed her in Shimmer and in Shine, and then seeing her become this silent assassin almost, where she didn't need to talk on the microphone. She literally just showed up, whooped your ass, and went home. And then she had her two lackeys with her, which kind of solidified her as like some weird MMA mean girls kind of thing, where she comes to Raw, she bites Becky Lynch like a vampire,
Oh
and
yeah.
draws blood. And before that, she was supposed to win the Royal Rumble in 2020, but Vince pulled an audible and said, "No, we want Charlotte to win," because you could just tell there was no plan for Charlotte to wrestle at NXT at
Right.
Mania until she won the Rumble, and it was supposed to be uh, Shayna Baszler, and Shayna winds up originally, going from that to still wrestling Becky Lynch at Mania.
Yep.
But they dropped the ball, at least in my opinion. But I don't blame, when we talk booking and things of that nature, I don't blame creative. I blame us as fans almost for having these expectations, thinking that our favorites are going to automatically be thrust into the spotlight because they're our favorites.
Right. Your
I can,
favorite is not everybody's favorite, and
exactly. That's how I feel about Cesaro. As much as I love Cesaro's work, do I feel as if he needs to be a champion? He's been a tag champion, a European champion. I always thought he'd be the perfect intercontinental champion.
U.S.
If you
champion.
wanted to,
We don't have a
if you,
European champion, but
what was that?
U.S. champ, not European. We don't have a
Correct.
European
Thank
champ.
you. Thank you for that. He would be the European champ if
he
they
would
had
be the
that too.
he would be the European champ. He should be.
Right.
But
But,
see,
but
but now again, to your point, that's where I would disagree with you because I do love Cesaro and I do believe he'd be at least if we were still in the big gold era,
yes,
he would be a great world heavyweight champion.
transitional. Yes. I say
Yeah,
transitional.
yeah, oh yeah, sure. I mean, I'm not calling for him to go on a McIntyre run. No. But
No, I'd
I'll
say
give it.
Kofi run 2 months, 3 months.
Yep, and get somebody else there. He's the
Yes.
veteran guy that can. He might be able to hold the title, might be able to talk a little bit, but he's going to make somebody else look better winning on the other
And he
side.
always does. Look at
He
what he
always
did
does.
with Mansoor at
Yep.
Blood Money that one year, where it's Mansoor. You
I've never watched one of those shows, but I know exactly what show you're talking about.
exactly. But going back to NXT, having Nia and Shayna show up on Wednesday to challenge, if you haven't watched Takeover, it's Dakota and Raquel for the tag team championships. And I'm pretty much all on board to
Yep.
seeing Dakota Kai just kick people's faces in because she's the leader of Team Kick. I've always been a fan of her since the Indie Progress Rev
Mm-hmm.
Pro days. You were with me at that show, right?
Where?
the hot as ball show in Queens for
Oh, we were
Progress.
there. We were
Yeah,
there.
where we all
I
lost
was
like
sitting
10
with
pounds
TK.
each.
I was sitting
That's
with
right.
TK, but I was there. Yeah.
That's right.
And then during intermission, myself and Civil Fandom ran over to the convenience store to get water, and they ran out of water.
I had to go to the liquor store and get booze
Oh, I
because
didn't know you
that's.
found anything. We couldn't find anything else, so I just suffered.
Oh, there was a Latino restaurant across the street from the arena, and we were able to get water from there because
Ah,
they still were stocked. So
okay.
Drew, Big Money Drew, who we know, go check him out on Twitter. By the way, he says you got it perfectly. WWE will more times than not book your favorites the way we feel that they should be booked. We have too many expectations that they won't ever do. Hi, by the way, nice to see you guys stream. I'm SAWLTY Chips. Hey, yeah, we're back
Hey.
for now temporarily, but that's
Until we
the
go
point
away for 2 years again.
again, right? But
We do that.
alas,
We
that's
do
the
that.
thing.
Yep.
Our faves are not your faves. Your faves aren't my faves.
Yep.
I know for damn sure,
Ah,
unless they're going to make the money, they're not Vince's faves.
I mean, here's the prime example for this show that we'll use to make this point. How do you feel about Asuka?
You know I love Asuka.
Yeah, I don't.
Asuka the ass kicker. I love Asuka.
Meh.
You don't. And that's
No.
okay. I've been trying for 2 years to get you on board with this, and you
No.
will not. And I am okay with you not being on board.
But now that's the point. So take that perspective and put it in somebody else's brain is, oh, she's champion, that's great. But somebody else on my side of the spectrum be like, nah, I don't like that. Let's do this. So that's where the problem comes from is you have these expectations because you want what you want, but there's
Yes.
somebody else on the other side that doesn't want it. And you're
Mhm.
always going to be disappointed. So that's why I think the way that we view the show these days is better because we just take what they give us and take it for what it is and evaluate it that way.
Yeah, it's entertainment. It's not sports. It's entertainment. I keep telling people this is medieval times. We tune in every week to watch medieval times WWE edition, and we get storylines like a soap opera. It's not as if LeBron James is lacing up every day to go in a WWE ring to
It's a
defend
live
his
action soap opera.
championships.
It's
Yeah,
a live
that's all
action
it
soap
is.
opera. Yep. Yep.
So it's like watching your favorite characters, like on All My Children or Guiding Light or whatever the hell.
Days of Our
So
Lives.
yeah, and if they don't get written a certain way, yeah, we'll be like, I don't know about that. But long term, they're gonna
It'll
get
work.
theirs. It'll
Yeah.
work.
Yep, it'll work out, and just got to keep on watching and hope for the best.
Look at it this way.
It is,
Shayna,
you can kind of compare it to sports in some ways too, because your favorite team might never win a championship. These guys aren't going to win a championship for a long time.
right? I'm a suffering New York Mets fan. They haven't won in a long time.
You should be very excited about your season. You suffering.
We'll
Mets
do a
fans.
baseball show one of these days because I
You should
am.
You should be very
I'm back.
excited. You should be very excited. But so your guy is Cesaro. You've been waiting for this for so long, and he's finally around the cusp. So it's that long-term build. This is what we do. We tell stories, and we're getting there.
Yeah, it's just people want it now. Like JG Wentworth, they want their money now. But unfortunately, Vince is not giving you your money. Chill, man. It's okay.
Yep.
But before we switch over to Gargano, because I actually wanted to talk about that, it really all comes down to one thing: money. Does it make money?
Yep.
Sasha makes money. I know you're not a big Sasha guy. Sasha makes money.
I've turned.
You've turned.
We talked about this on the last show. I've turned. I'm in.
Officially, though. Officially.
I'm in. Yeah,
okay.
I'm in. I'm in. I'm in. I still don't love. It's hard for me to listen to her talk sometimes because I'm like, all right, this is kind of boring. But but her in-ring work, oh man, I'm in. I really enjoy watching.
I'm so happy to hear that. That makes me so happy.
I'm so in. So in.
So Drew says storylines like the Summer of Punk and Bryan's WrestleMania 30 and even Becky's run to Mania main event are lightning in a bottle runs that WWE falls into more than they plan out. Correct.
Exactly.
Correct. I would say the rise of Stone Cold, the rise of The Rock.
Yep.
WWE didn't plan for that. It was one of those things where it came out of left field and, oh, hello, let's push these guys and gals to the moon because it came out of left field.
More so Rock too. I mean, because
yes.
Rocky Die turned into and arguably biggest star in the world. Not even wrestling star, just the biggest star in the world.
Mm-hmm.
He is literally. He might be the president of this country someday. Like,
imagine.
You know Like,
I'm just hoping he's not Lex Luthor. That's my only hope is he's not secretly Lex Luthor.
You never know in this world.
Even though he would make an intriguing Lex Luthor. as a character.
Yeah, see, here we go.
No, I'm
This
not
is
going to do this because I can go down this rabbit hole
I was
all
gonna say
day.
this is where we go down the rabbit holes.
Okay, I can do this all day. Steve Rogers. But Gargano versus Kashida, I I've told you from day one, I'm not a Kashida guy. Never have been. I've never seen the appeal aside from him just being Marty McFly, the wrestler. Is he good at what he does? Yes.
Mhm.
Does he make me want to watch? No. You know who makes me want to watch? Chicken shit Miz version of Gargano.
Yep.
That's who I want to see him get his arse kicked every single day, or see how he's going to get out of something like a chicken-ish heel that he is now, which I love because I feel as if they would have brought him up as this baby face up on the main roster, we would have lost interest rather quickly. But now he's reinvented himself as this sniveling, just bad douchey guy, and I love it.
Yep.
I love looking for Austin Theory, even though I can't stand Austin Theory. I love the fact that they have these missing signs for him.
Yeah, that
Uh,
guy should not be. That guy should not be there. But Johnny Gargano, I think I tweeted this. He was the babyface of wrestling. Like through the Evolve days, he was the consummate babyface. He was what you wanted a babyface to be, and
right.
I loved it. But I think him, and he had that short heel run during the halftime heat year. I think that was
Yes.
2019, right?
Hmm.
That was 2019, which was fun, but it was just a kind of like a taste of it. And then he
Yes.
went back to being the Rebel Heart, All Soul, Johnny Gargano. But now we're back to this heel thing, and I'm loving it. And it's only gonna make because it's inevitable. We're doing so many comic segues here. The inevitable babyface turn is coming for Johnny Gargano, and it's gonna make it that much sweeter when it happens in front of a crowd.
I was just going to say that. You
In
took it
front of a
right out of my head. It has to
yep.
be in front of a crowd.
Because Johnny Gargano, as presented before, cannot work with no crowd as a
No.
babyface. It doesn't work without that crowd reaction. That, oh man, we want you to win, Johnny. Go get yours. It doesn't
Yeah.
work without a crowd. And for him to be able to switch from that to this with
Hmm.
no crowd is pretty good. It's pretty crazy how well he's actually doing it. Now DC would disagree with us. He calls him vanilla ice cream.
Well, because
But
he was for me after a while he got stale as a babyface, which is why the heel turn was necessitated to be
right.
able to do that.
Yeah, but I still think that him as a babyface will end up being the route they go and how he will be remembered. But this heel run again, I go back to the Rock again. It's you need to do this to get there. You need to be able to have this character death for when you finally do come back as a incredibly strong or over. I guess we can use the word over babyface. It's going to be that much sweeter for the fan.
Of course, but it has to have a crowd.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's not going to happen in the Thunderdome.
Right.
Um, nothing works in the Thunderdome for me. That I think that's also why NXT is appointment viewing for me because even with that little crowd they have, it makes that much of a difference to me.
So what we're going to stay on the way really fast. What are your thoughts on Candace?
Oh, I love her. I'm glad that she's become, her reputation coming in was she's this intergender wrestler that can't do much else.
Hmm.
No, that's
You've
not.
debated me on that because I said the same thing. I just said if she doesn't wrestle men, it's not as impressive when she's
Right.
wrestling.
But now she's out there doing her thing with the women's division, and she's probably one of the shining stars of the women's division. I wouldn't would I say top 5 in the company? No.
No. Hey,
But
Sarah. Yeah. No, I'm at the away game studios. I am not home yet. Sorry.
but she's doing her thing and she's making it work, and I'm happy to see it. And again, she's that other type babyface that when she turns, it's going to be that much sweeter. Now, I mean, we're probably going down a Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth route here, where they're going to turn as a couple. I think not that kind of turn, but like the feel good story of the couple at some point. I don't know how we're going to get there, but I have a feeling it's going to involve the both of them. But she's doing great. I think she's doing great work with Indy Hartwell as the team. I'm loving that team. Indy Hartwell is doing great. But I'm sure we'll go on.
Look, man. Before she got signed, I told people to be on the lookout for her, and everybody thought it was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I'm right. I like being right.
Yep.
You're welcome.
Yep, you put it into the empty void, and they listened.
Mm-hmm. Someone listens finally. You said the women's match at Takeover was a little lackluster, and you and I were texting back and forth about it.
The women's championship.
Yes, the women's championship match. I was amped for this match, and Admittedly, Triple H says after the show that I believe they were slotted for about 25 minutes
Yep.
and they ran short.
And I saw something about the table breaking,
Yeah,
kind of
and I think that
scaring
was
people.
part of it.
But even still, going unless that spot was going to be some type of match changing thing, that the everything leading up to where the table broke wasn't good. I I'm just gonna say it like that. It just
No,
wasn't
you're
good.
right.
I like if I were to go and rewatch that show, I would entirely skip that match. I love Tony Storm. I think the match would have been better served one on one. Io and Tony. I'm pretty sure they have a history in Stardom, or is it, that might be Kyrie. But either way, I just feel that match would have been much better one on one. Mercedes Martinez, while good, um, just I didn't feel fit there.
I actually felt the opposite. I felt that Tony Storm didn't fit there
Okay.
while watching the match because since she has come back, she seems to be at least 4 steps slower and a little bit more tentative in her move set or just in her body movements, a little stiff. If you just watch her doing a go over, run the ropes and then a go over, she looks as if she's counting the steps in her head to go
Sure.
over Io. And I feel as if since she's come back, I don't remember what she was injured for or from, but she doesn't seem like her old Mae Young Classic self that we all were
Well,
saying, hey, strap a rocket to her back. She's going to the moon, baby.
it's interesting that you say about counting the steps in the ring. So I guess my question would be: I don't watch NXT UK, which is
Hmm.
shocking considering I'm the one saying that. I was the British wrestling indie all-time American nerd.
Mr.
Um,
Progress, yes.
yeah. But do they use a smaller ring? She was gone for the pandemic. She was in England. Did she train in a smaller ring? Is she getting adjusted to a bigger ring again? That I only say that because you mentioned counting her steps. I haven't noticed that. What I have noticed is she's not using as many of her moves as she used to use when she was a babyface. So is it her heel character getting in the way? Is she not doing what she some of the things she used to do as a babyface?
Listen, Sarah, I will not tolerate this kind of tomfoolery on my broadcast. Okay, this is a professional broadcast. We will not talk about whether we like stiffies or anything like that on this show. Okay, sorry, we
I
save
had to
that for
pull a
the
U.
other shows. What was that,
I
Chip?
had to pull. She said I had to pull a U.
Yeah, because I'm always making weird innuendo jokes on other
Oh, I've
shows
seen.
that I'm on.
I've
Yes.
seen. I've seen.
Mhm.
I'm very well aware that you do that. I've worked with you for a while. I'm very well aware.
But I
I'm
digress.
also guilty of that.
I know you are, and that's why I'm trying to hold back on my Tony Storm commentary because I know a lot of people know that I used to swoon over Tony Storm because there's no way a woman that small and compact can put that much into that package. Like there's no way. But
Back it up.
God has smiled
Um,
upon her and said, "There you go."
she's younger than me, which is the craziest thing.
How
I'm
old are
at
you
that.
now, dude?
I'm 25.
Holy crap!
But no. See
I
now,
thought you were 28 by now.
take that mood, take that mood, and put it into your favorite wrestlers. Some of them are younger than that. Tony Storm is younger than that. Pete Dunne's not younger than that. Tyler Bate is younger than that. Okay, let's put it in sports. Patrick Mahomes is younger than that. Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum are younger than me.
I feel old.
Yep. Yes,
You're,
I am a baby.
she says, "You're a baby Chip. That's all
Yep.
good."
I sure am.
And small packages can be fun. Well,
Uh,
Sarah, if we're being technical here, size does matter. So if you talk about small packages, sometimes they're not that fun.
this is a
Just
show with two men talking about small packages. We should probably
we
not
didn't
do
say
that.
that. Sarah said that.
Yeah,
There we go.
Oh, why am I getting an Adobe update? Great computers.
Yes, Chip is 25, Drew. He's 25
I sure am.
with a beard of a
I'm
40-year-old.
Yeah, I'm hiding my beard strategically today. It's not my best beard day. It's it's that kind of nor'easter, not caring about my beard type day. I do have to trim it soon, very soon.
Yeah. So shout out to my friends in the Northeast, including Chip, who are dealing with what we got a couple of days ago
It's actually not all
down
that
here.
bad out here.
Hmm.
It's very spread. It started last night and it's going all through today. So the roads aren't bad. The accumulation is like nothing. If you wait a few hours, you have a little bit to shovel. So we got
Yeah,
lucky. You guys got hammered. But
and
you're
not in a
from New
good
York.
way.
But you're but you're from New York, so you kind of
Well,
know.
see, to your point, I have been telling people ad nauseum that just because I am used to seeing that out there with the snow plows and all this other stuff, doesn't mean I
Doesn't mean
like
you're
it for
ready for it.
one. It doesn't mean, and we weren't because I left all my snow boots back in New York. I did not bring
Right? Because
snow
you,
boots down here.
why would you expect a blizzard in Texas?
Right. When typically we get 75 degrees on a random day in February. So,
Right. But at least you know what snow is. You know, like,
yes.
oh, I probably shouldn't do these things when it's snowing this much. You have snow common sense. I said snow, not no.
I'm going to mute myself and I'm going to let you talk
I
as
hate when you do
punishment.
this. I
Go
can't.
ahead,
I can't.
Chip.
I can't, I
Go ahead.
can't do this anymore. I I didn't even do anything
Control the
wrong this.
show.
I didn't even do anything wrong this time. Oh wow, you really left. Come back, please. I can't. I'm not doing this alone. I have nothing to ramble about this time.
Okay, for those who don't know, we do this every once in a while where Chip says something really ridiculous. I leave him to host the show on his own,
I didn't even say
and
anything
then
that bad this time.
he's flummoxed and flabbergasted after the
I
fact.
just turned completely red and I looked for my drink that is all the way over there. I said
Exactly. See, Sarah repeated it. They have snow common
thank you.
sense.
I said you have snow common sense. You understand what to do in snow. Texas people. Oh God. All right. Well, this was fun. This was a good return. I'm just gonna stare into the camera.
Oh man. So the women's match, NXT Takeover, it was
Clunker.
fine. It was okay. You said it was the clunker of the night. Cool, we'll go with that.
I didn't even enjoy it. I'm sorry.
You didn't like? What about the tag match for the Dusty Cup for the men?
Oh yeah, that
I
was a great
love
match.
grizzled young vets. I am a
They were
fan.
great.
I am
Uh,
a fan.
if you take Zach Gibson, take off your shoe, whatever the chant used to be. I fucking love that
Take
guy.
off your shoe. Yeah.
We can swear on this one. I don't care.
Yes, we can.
I love that guy. Liverpool, soon to be Liverpool's number one. I've been a fan of Zach Gibson since his beginning in progress. I know he's been around longer than that. That's why he's a grizzled young veteran.
Hmm.
But I started watching him when he was coming up through progress, and that's where I started to become a fan of him. And I'm just happy to see his success. And I think it's even more meaningful that he is working NXT proper during a pandemic as a guy that lives and resides in England. That means
Yes.
they have a value on him of that much importance that they brought him over in the middle of a global pandemic and have him working on their top show, not staying in his country working on NXT UK. I think
Right.
that shows how important he is. And James Drake, I'm not a huge James Drake guy, but he does work. He does work well, but he doesn't do much for me outside of his in-ring work.
Same. I think he obviously they're a perfect pair. One's the microphone piece, one's the worker, and they do really well together. That doomsday device on the outside through a tope, I cringed. I openly threw my phone. I did that
I thought he
in
was
my
going to fall
chair.
on his head. I
Me
thought he was
too.
going to fall on his head. I
Me
thought he
too.
was going off the shoulders, straight pencil dive, but head first.
Into the table,
Yep.
the new table.
The one that was actually sturdy this time.
Yeah. So I thought that was going to happen, and the match overall was fine. I have seen MSK work the Indies for 4 years now.
Yep.
It's not that they don't bring anything new to the table, and it's not meant to be disrespectful. They're just so naturally good at what they do. Nothing they do surprises me.
Right. But I mean the backflip push, I don't know what they actually call it, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, the backflip
Um
somersault.
the somersault push over another guy.
Yeah,
That was cool. And that doesn't surprise me that they could do that. I think I've seen it before.
we have.
Um but to a new audience, a casual WWE audience, probably has never seen that before, and that's like, oh, that's pretty cool. He pushed him over another guy, and he still landed it perfect.
Hmm.
I've always been a bigger Desmond Xavier guy than I was a Zachary
Same.
Wentz, and I am not saying their indie names to be a mark. I just, honest to God, do not know their WWE names yet. Once I learn them, I will start calling them by that. By honest to God, do
I
not
know
know.
one of them is Wes Lee, and
Wes Lee, and I think the other one's Nash Carter.
yes, and I'm thinking, who the hell came up with these boy band names?
Why are we
Honestly,
calling somebody Wes Lee? That's one first name, but you're combining it into a first and last name. That's dumb. Stop being
20 bucks they called him Wesley because of Wesley Snipes. 20 bucks says that's why they did it.
I just thought because we got rid of Wesley Blake that we just wanted another Wesley.
We don't talk about them. We don't bring them up.
Dingo and Clap Clap.
Nope, just never going to talk about that ever again. I feel bad for that guy. Don't get me wrong.
What a
I do
bad
feel
team.
bad for that guy.
What a bad team that was.
Which one?
Then when Banff.
Oh,
But when Alexa came around, they were fine. But oh God, they were tag champs and they should have. Oh God.
I do feel bad for Blake. He
Yeah.
just, either his partners overshadow him or his partners do some ish that gets him.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Hmm.
I forgot that was him.
Yeah.
I forgot that was him in the Forgotten Sons. I thought I was talking about somebody entirely different. That is him. Oh shit.
Yeah, Drew. Nash is Zach Wentz.
Oh,
Hmm.
is that who that is? Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Zach Wentz doesn't do much for me, but I will say, after watching that match, he does. He has. He seems that he's worked. He's tightened up. He looks good. He's a lot more fluid. I thought he was just a bunch of. I thought he was a bunch of spots, but he's actually has done a little bit more. He does a little bit more technical wrestling. He's a little bit more on the mat. I thought he was just always flying somewhere. Um,
Flying high.
yeah, flying high. Yeah, sure. I also didn't realize he and Kimberly were engaged.
Hmm.
Congratulations, that's fun. But yeah,
Is it fun though? Oh, never mind. This isn't a dating show. Let me not even get started on that.
yeah. I don't really care all that much.
Actually, you know what, Chip? Now that you're on the air, I'm actually going to ask you to be on me and Sarah's show one of these days when we talk about dating in this new realm of swipe right culture. And
It
since
doesn't
you're
happen. I don't have dating apps. I
okay,
don't
but
trust them.
we'll say it for the show because I want your feedback on dating overall.
I'm
But
just saying I don't trust those apps. I don't believe in them. I don't trust them.
okay, well, we'll save that for another day. But the main event, Finn versus Pete.
Oh, oh,
I didn't
oh.
care for it.
What?
I turned it off.
How do I leave? How do
I
I
can kick you out. I'll
How
kick
do
you
I
out.
do?
Bye. So I've kicked out Chip because he wanted to leave the show because I did not like the main event between between Finn Balor and Pete Dunne. I like them both individually as talents, but I just was not a fan of seeing them two interact. It was just something about it that didn't sit right with me. It seemed boring at parts, and I'm not the kind of guy. I'm not the kind of wrestling fan that poo-poos psychological wrestling spots. But I guess I was just tired and I just walked away after a while. And then I turned it back on and oh, wait, Finn won. Great. Welcome back, Chip. Go ahead. Tell me why it was good.
I mean, I'm not going to disagree that it was a little over the top technical, sure,
Yes.
but I guess my question, I guess I have to ask you a question before I can go any further. Is what did you expect slash want from that match? Because I think what I saw is what I expected.
A half a step faster. I felt as if I was watching more sports entertainment than wrestling.
Okay. Um.
It was a little plotty, a little plotty. It was more,
Well, I
okay,
didn't.
better description for me. It felt like a 1980s WWF match more so than a fluid
Oh,
NXT wrestling match.
I would disagree 100% with that. I
That's
mean,
just my opinion.
if you're watching an 80s wrestling match, yes, you're going to get the technical mat work. You're going to get the rest holds, but rest holds in an 80s wrestling match would last
20
4 to 5
minutes.
exactly. This we were moving. We were going through it a little bit. Like yeah, we had some rest holds in there. But I think the psychology in working the fingers in all that kind of working body parts type stuff worked for them. I think Pete Dunne is presented as this methodical type monster, and yes, he is Jack now. I don't know where that came from because that
It's
just
called being your country's on quarantine. You have nothing to do but work out at home.
well that's I wish I took that advice because oh god
Yeah, well,
I haven't been in a gym since March 12th. I miss the gym so much. Um, I'll talk about that later. But I think it works for them. I don't because Finn isn't this fast moving high flyer. He's somewhat technical and plotty on his own right. Pete Dunne does a little bit of both. He's fast. He can work the mat. He'll work your fingers, of course. That's kind of his jam. I say that's his jam a lot now these
you
days. I don't know
do.
why.
That's
I
one of
don't know
your
why.
favorite phrases.
I don't know why. That and "Are you for fucking real" are two of my favorite phrases. But anyways, I don't know why. But I just it just worked for me. I thought it was great. It didn't feel like one of those long technical masterpieces. It felt like I just finished watching one of those high flying, spotty matches. But it
Mhm.
wasn't that, and I really enjoyed it. I didn't explain myself well on that at all, but I loved it. I thought it was great, and it builds to more. We're gonna get more of this.
Of course, but we're also going to get a little wrinkle thrown in of one Adam Cole Bebe
Uh-huh.
super kicking Kyle O'Reilly in the face or in the chest. I hate that as a pet peeve in wrestling. When people say clearly, even though he didn't get hit in the face, he kicked his head off. My man, he hit him just below the shoulder blade. What are you talking about? He got kicked in the face. Kyle got hit in the chest,
Oh,
not the
Kyle.
face.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Finn got rocked like
Yeah,
right
Finn
under
got
the
rocked.
chin. He might have kicked his neck. Like it was brutal. But yes, he side kicked him right in the. Now,
Hmm.
actually, it's funny. The night before Takeover, I was out working and I was listening to Bruce Pritchard's podcast, and he was talking about super kicks. I'm sorry, not Bruce Pritchard, Eric Bischoff, and he was talking about super kicks. And he said I didn't particularly like how Shawn Michaels did his because that is supposed to be based off of a type of sidekick. The super kick is a sidekick. And he goes, in a real sidekick, you don't lean forward and kick. You kind of just kick your leg out to the side.
Right.
And then the next night, Adam Cole comes out and he basically does a sidekick. He doesn't lean down. Like it looked so clean on Finn. But
Hmm.
then you're right. He proceeded to just go and barely hit Kyle in the chest. But I love it. Adam Cole just works as a heel. It makes all the sense that he's like,
He was
oh,
never a face. If you're
he
going
wasn't
against Pat McAfee, you're both heels. He would.
right.
That's why people was like, "Oh, he turned heel." Undisputed Era was always heels. They were never the face. We just
Well,
liked
I
them.
wouldn't say Undisputed Era were heels. I would say Adam Cole always was.
And Roddy,
Roddy, I tell you, he might be a babyface.
drunk Uncle Bobby.
I think he's somebody that could go either way.
Mhm.
As presented right now, I'll tell you he's a babyface because if he wasn't, he wouldn't have worked with O'Reilly on Wednesday. You know what I mean? Like in
Yeah,
storyline perspective, he wouldn't have done that. But Adam Cole just works so much better as a heel. It makes sense that Kyle O'Reilly, you couldn't get the job done. You couldn't bring the gold back to Undisputed Era. Well, it looks like I
right.
have to do it myself. You know,
Hmm.
Thanos. No, that didn't work. But
Yeah,
yes, that's what I was going for. But yeah, it just I'm excited. We're probably gonna get a triple threat match of Undisputed Era peoples. Sorry, Bobby Fish, you somehow always get left out of the important things when it comes time for it.
he's
But
always been left out, and that's okay. I don't.
like he showed up the week before Takeover on TV, and then he's not there again.
Mm.
It's like, are you good? What's happening with you? Poor guy. But you know, do we get Red Dragon and
Red Dragon.
I'm doing it. I'm doing that. I'm doing
Stop
that
it.
error thing. I'm doing the thing I hate. I'm sorry. I had to.
Go,
Against
go.
Roddy and Adam Cole, Mount Rushmore. Like, are we doing that? This is fun. I'm excited. I'm not going to speculate on where it's going. I'm just going to have fun with it.
And that's the point, to have fun with it. I'm giving you, I'm busting your shoes about it, but it's giving us intriguing matchups. They were going to break the Undisputed Era up anyway with the whole Ridge Holland involvement earlier this year or last year until he got hurt.
Yep, I forgot about him. Yes.
So until he got hurt. And so they had to backpedal. But the plan was always to break up the Undisputed Era into two separate factions like NWO, Wolfpack, and Black and White.
Mm-hmm.
It's just who was going to be on Kyle's side because he was going to stay face.
It's either that or we're doing it's either that or Adam Cole is moving up and this is just his last hurrah. Like we're gonna just send him out like this. You know, he's gonna break up the band he put together, and they're gonna have the final laugh and he's gonna go on his way.
Yeah, and that's okay. I think
Finn might even be going up. Who knows what's happening here?
I'm going to say this, and a lot of wrestling fans don't like when I say things like this, but
Am I
there's
gonna like what you have to say?
I don't know.
Okay.
I think Adam Cole should have just stayed in NXT, sort of how Ciampa is staying as a producer while being a part-time wrestler. I feel as if like Johnny had to reinvent himself to stay in NXT or else be forced to go to 205 Live as a vanilla babyface. I think Cole doesn't work on the main roster. I don't, unless he's a mouthpiece for someone bigger, where he can be the Leo Rush.
Do you say he doesn't work on the main roster because of his size? Or
Yes.
do you not think? Okay.
Strictly that, and it's not me. It's what they look for. WWE typically looks for in a main roster superstar. Because if you think people are complaining now about their favorites not being pushed on the main roster, like a Nakamura, a Cesaro,
that's what I'm doing
for
in
instance,
my head right now. I'm trying to think of who would you compare Adam Cole to be with anybody with success, and I'm racking my head and no.
Imagine when he gets up there. His hair weighs as much as he does, according to Vince McMahon.
I mean, I don't know if you could see me on camera. I was really going through that in my head. I was like, Nakamura, well, he's smaller. Nakamura. Cesaro, he's definitely smaller than Cesaro. Breeze, he didn't work.
Ziggler.
Ziggler is what he
Rude.
is. He's smaller. He's smaller than Ziggler and Rude.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you're right. Yeah. All right. So I retract my statement. I think he should stay in NXT. I was
Unless
I was going to sit here and argue that he should move up eventually, but I retract.
unless he's either a manager of someone bigger,
Mm,
like Leo to Lashley kind of thing,
no,
or I hate to say it, make him a tag team, and if you want to bring up Drunk Uncle Bobby to be his tag team partner on the main roster, have him feud with the Street Profits and have a whole bunch of trash talking.
I think if we're doing that, if we're bringing Cole up as a tag team and he's bringing one Undisputed Era person, it's Roddy.
Bobby. Oh,
It's Roddy. I think it's Roddy. Bobby, he can't. Bobby can't even get on TV now.
well, that's what I mean. But if Roddy goes,
Now,
right?
if he's hurt, sorry. I'm
Yeah.
sorry for saying this if he's hurt. But if he's just a healthy scratch, sorry. You can't even go on
Oh, I
TV.
don't think Bobby's a healthy scratch. I think he's hurt or like there's some other issues going on with him. But
Has he made it a full calendar year without being off television for an injury, not
I don't
pandemic
think for
related?
his whole run, no.
No. So I don't think you can put somebody on cable television like that. Well, NXT is on cable television now. Sorry.
Yeah.
I take that take back. I just don't think he can be on the main roster. Somebody that unreliable.
Fair. That's fair. Maybe some weird him Finn team up there also because you're saying that Finn might go back up. But
Yeah.
to Drew's point about the breakup being intriguing television, yes, it makes me want to watch NXT more because it's a bit of a breakup storyline. But here's my issue with wrestling fans because that's daily. So the new one was when they were teasing the breakup of Undisputed Era. There, people were saying which one hurt you more, this or the Shield, and the fact that people were saying that the Shield was second in terms of team breakups. Uh, I'm sorry, y'all. The Shield one hurt my soul more than it hurt Undisputed Era.
I disagree.
Okay,
I haven't thought about it though. I never compared the two. So
so
this
let's
is
do it real quick.
okay.
Fresh in mind, picture Seth Rollins turning on Roman and Dean, right? How'd you feel? What was your first reactions?
Oh I mean, genuinely, when it first
Yeah.
happened and I was watching it live, I said, "Of course."
Mhm.
Like, of course this was going to happen. But
Inevitable.
I was surprised of who it was.
Right. Because the tease
I,
had always been Ambrose.
I always thought it was going to be Dean.
Yes.
Um, but I was like, of course we're going here. This wasn't forever. Um, so there wasn't any genuine shock there. Now watching on Sunday, what day was it?
Sunday.
Sunday. I felt a little bit more genuine shock. I was like, oh, it's happening. Because I thought we were just gonna ride this out until either one was moving up or they all moved up. I thought we were riding this out. Huh. Which one? Which one hurt more?
The
Is
Shield
Undisputed
hurt
Era.
more for me.
I think Undisputed Era. I felt that group, and I think it also has a little bit to do with their tiebacks to indie wrestling, Mount Rushmore, and all that. I think that's what it has to do with for me. The Shield was just a WWE product that
Good
was
point.
inevitably going to.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
That was inevitably going to explode. This was a little bit of a tieback to the last real piece of like, and I guess you would call their era in indie wrestling the indie golden era.
Mhm.
I think that was the last tieback to it where they were still kind of together. Now people would argue AEW is indie tiebacks all around
We're not
the
going to
world,
touch that. We're not touching
but
that.
I don't watch that company, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's like ROH's last leg just broke. PWG's leg just broke. Hearts broken everywhere in those fandoms. I think that one hurt me more than the Shield.
Okay. And I think part of it with me is I wasn't around indie wrestling at that point during
Yep.
PWG's major boon or Ring of
When Battle of
Honor's.
Los Angeles was
Yeah,
huge.
yes, or Ring of Honor's, real upticks in terms of wrestling content.
Sure.
I was never around for that,
And
so
that's
that's
when I
why
was getting into it.
that's where you okay. So I can understand that, because it's your connection. For me, the Shield will always be just three badass dudes who came up from NXT before it was the wrestling factory,
Right.
and came in together.
See, I might even tell you that the Wyatt family breaking up hurt me more than the Shield.
Really?
I just don't in my mind. I don't remember feeling any sort of shock, surprise, suspense that it was coming. I think I kind of even knew it was coming on that night.
Excuse
It
me.
was because if I remember correctly, and this was 7 years ago now. Holy shit! 7 years ago, coming up on anyways, they beat Evolution the night before,
Yes.
so they swept them in their series. What else are you gonna do? You beat the greatest faction in history. We're
Yeah,
done
there was
here.
nowhere else for them to
We're
go.
done here. So yeah, I don't remember any shock, any genuine surprise. Like even the Wyatt family, like they didn't break up, but when they stopped being a thing, I was like, oh, that's kind of sad. I wish they were
Mhm.
still together. But like I wasn't sad about the Shield. I'm sad about Undisputed Era not being together. I am sad about the Wyatt family not being together.
That's fair.
Of course, obvious reasons now, but um, I was genuinely sad about those two. So I would even tell you Shield is 3. What are you beeping at? Did you hear that?
No.
Sounds like there's a car in my yard
I was
beeping.
like, do you have ghosts? The ghosts of
I
Christmas past?
could. My cat even ran to the window. What do
Oh
you see, bud?
Jesus. Well, your cat's nosy.
My cat hides under the covers most of the time. I'm shocked he's out in human life right now.
Fair enough. But did you watch NXT this week?
I sure did.
Okay, thoughts.
So I Beth Phoenix introducing the. Also, let me start with Beth Phoenix real quick. Her being there in person makes her a little bit more tolerable.
Because I know you couldn't stand Beth Phoenix when she first started.
No. But I think at least she's serviceable now, especially being there in person. I have to imagine it's not easy doing commentary from home. So wipe out the last year of her commentary because I think her and Mara were both doing it from home. So that's got to be tough. But she's serviceable. She's fine. She still asks. She still is talking like she's in the middle of asking a question at every single one of her sentences. You know what I mean? Like she sounds like she's asking a question when she's talking still. But I digress. Her introducing the Dusty Tag Team winners was cool. I appreciated that it was her introducing the women. It makes sense. She's one of the Legends Hall of Famers. It makes sense. I loved Adam Cole not talking. He does, and I think he tweeted something that I don't have shit to say. I'll talk when I
Yeah,
feel like
I'll
it.
talk when I feel like it.
That fine, cool. Keep on kicking his ass for no reason. I love it. Tell me more. And I think the matches were fine. Austin Theory coming back in his underpants.
His tidy whities, yeah, no.
That was stupid. You also conveniently got a haircut before you came back.
Even though you got kidnapped.
You were kidnapped and we just found you, but you have a nice haircut now.
Well, maybe Dexter Loomis was such a nice person, he cut his hair.
Yeah, sure. And
okay.
Gave him nice, clean, tidy whities. Wasn't a fan of that. Xia Li, I'm in. That has a very comic feel to it.
Especially now with Mortal Kombat being advertised in the last couple of days.
Mortal Kombat type feel to it, so I'm in. It fits now. I was very confused when I started airing the vignettes of what it was going to be, but she's being this person is 1,000-year-old woman or something.
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
The spirit of a dragon, I believe.
Cool. Yeah. That's what wrestling's supposed to be. It's supposed to be this over the top stupid thing. So let's get stupid.
Yeah.
What else happened? MSK doing the Big E gif.
Sure. Yep.
Am I missing anything?
Of note, probably the fake seizure that the internet ran with.
Huh?
Kyle.
He had a seizure?
When he took the brainbuster on the steel steps, and then somebody reported that he actually suffered a seizure.
Did he?
And it turned out to be a work. Everybody worked themselves into a shoot.
I don't scroll Twitter anymore. I added you to a list last week. The list is accounts I care about. And I only scroll that list.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome. No, I don't. I honest to God do not scroll Twitter anymore because people have ruined it for me. I had not heard that report. I'm glad he didn't have a seizure. But the way you prefaced it, I thought he did.
Well, because people thought he had one to the point where this fan who videotaped it and shared it online literally made it seem as if Kyle actually had a real seizure because he has the.
We went off TV with him kind of like curled
all
over
woozy and
himself.
whatnot. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we didn't see him seizing.
Well, right? That because people were saying he was seizing off air because he had to be stretchered to the back. Long story short, people ran with it thinking it was a shoot story to the point where WWE, and there's a phrase in wrestling says, "Hey, you'll work yourself into a shoot because a work is supposed to be something that's storyline,
Hey,
and a shoot's
jabroni
supposed
Mark,
to
you
be
worked
real."
yourself into a shoot, brother.
Yep, that's exactly what people did.
Oh man. Well, but I will say about that spot. Did you see Adam Cole? Like when he hit that brainbuster on the stairs, he bounced off the stairs. It's like,
Yes,
did you hurt
bounced.
yourself more? Like you
That's
literally
what.
bounced onto your feet, off your back.
Mhm.
Oh, but I thought again, NXT just flows so easily. It's a 2-hour show. It's a lot like
Mhm.
SmackDown, which due to the weather, I am going to be home to watch for the first time in a long time. So I'm going to watch it live tonight, I think. Unless
Nice.
I watch Far From Home. I might watch Far From Home tonight. I don't know. But it flows. It's 2 hours. It's segmented well. One more point about NXT that I forgot. Pat McAfee being like, "I was right." It's like, yeah, you were, man. You were right. We knew you were right. But I'm a big Pat McAfee guy in wrestling.
There's
What do
where
you?
we differ, sir. I do not. I do not like Pat McAfee in general.
Okay, is he too bro for you? Is that what it is?
Yes,
Okay,
that's exactly what it is.
I agree. On the Pat McAfee show, I agree. But I think it works as a character in wrestling
And that's a good thing for most people. But for me,
because it
it's an
makes you hate him.
automatic no go for me. I don't know what it is about him. It just, eh. I mean, I know he likes wrestling. I know he enjoys being a part of WWE. He
And he
trains,
gets it.
he gets it.
He
But
understands what wrestling is.
and
Now,
yes, he's supposed to hype up those who can't talk. So, for instance, Lorcan and Birch, who have never been the best on the mic, Pete Dunne, who's never been the best on the mic, he serves as a great mouthpiece. Who am I thinking of? Do you remember Abraham Washington?
oh, I do. Him and Darren Young, Titus O'Neil were great. I really liked him.
Someone like him, like
I get
that.
why he got released before anybody says anything. I understand. I get
Yeah,
it.
but something like that. Like that's his role. I'm cool with it. But overall, to your point, yes, I think he's a little too brotastic for me, but I know there's a market that likes him.
Okay.
Great. More power to you.
No, that's fair. That's a good point. Because you know me, I typically don't like the bro dude guys. I mean, I say bro and dude a lot, but I don't like those people. But let me ask you one last question, wrestling related question, because I really want your opinion on this. Because you know me, I'm not a huge um musical type, not a big music person.
Yeah.
So I genuinely ask, I am an absolutely fucking not on Bow Wow wrestling. Where are
Okay.
you? Do you
I don't
think he
care.
adds anything? Do you think he brings eyes in? I don't. I don't. And I don't mean this to be an ass. I don't mean this because like, oh, I'm cooler than everybody. No, I legitimately know the name. I just don't know who he is or what made him popular. I don't think he's worth it. I'm good. I don't need it.
Okay. So he's a little, I hate to say this, makes me sound old. He was a little before your time. uh, when he was much younger, he was more, to use a wrestling term, he was more over when he was much younger.
I remember him as Little Bow Wow. Like
Yes.
I remember that phase of him, but even still, I don't remember it being like, oh, Bow Wow's the fucking man. I don't
Yeah.
remember any of that. Like
And it's not, okay. It's the same thing like for me with the Bad Bunny thing.
I,
Everyone swears I should be on board with the Bad Bunny
I don't
thing.
know who he is.
And here's how I summed it up for people. He's going to bring eyes on the product. Yes, a market that's never tapped into because Vince has been trying to tap into this Latino market for a long time since Eddie and Ray, you
Right,
know,
Ray couldn't get it done, and they tried
right.
Andrade, and it didn't work. So
They tried Kalisto and who's the other one?
good lucha
Mystico.
things.
Yeah, do lucha
Sin
things.
Cara.
Sin Cara. And didn't work. It just so happens that one of the biggest and busiest music stars in the world is a huge WWE fan. And
Right.
they just happen to bring him in at the right time.
He legitimately is a wrestling fan.
Yes.
So what I
And
did is I know one of my buddies is super into the music scene. Again, I'm not. I if it's a video game music, I probably listen to it, but other than that, I probably am not listening. Sorry,
right.
and I don't mean that to be a jerk or disrespectful or anything, but or Disney music. But I texted one of my buddies who I know is super into it, and I said, "Hey, can you tell me like, is if I asked you who one of the biggest music stars in the world is, would you say Bad Bunny?" He goes, "Oh yeah, probably one of the biggest pop culture people right now."
Right.
It's like, okay, now I get it. I get why this works. But Bow Wow, from what I see, he's tweeting is like, "Oh, I'm putting you all over." Like he's using these insider terms and like trying to be a wrestler before he's a wrestler. It's just like, I don't want that. I don't need that.
It's not my thing. I know that for a fact. He's not my bag of tricks. I
He's
don't
not your jam.
care if I will never say that. Just not my bag of tricks.
See, not my jam was even before my time. So for anybody that doesn't really know me, I am 25, trapped in an 80-year-old's mind.
Yes, this is true. Wait, 80-year-old's body and thought process because you're kind of
Well,
physically old
I
too.
would like to think I have well, I used to have a 25-year-old's body. You told me in my last video that I made for my former employer that I was looking jacked.
Yeah, how long ago was that?
Almost a year ago.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was the best shape. That was the best shape I was ever in.
We're not here to talk about your shape. You're fine, Chip.
Flame
Just
circle.
get back to the gym. You'll be all right.
Circle. I still have a gym membership. I just haven't gone.
But I don't really care for Bow Wow to be a part of WWE. It doesn't affect me either which way. To be quite frank, if it brings new fans in, cool. I'm with it. Is it something that it's marketed toward me? And that's a phrase I like to use a lot with people. I always say, professionally speaking, that was not marketed to people like me. So essentially,
Yeah.
that's not marketed to me. I'm okay with that.
I guess in theory it would be marketed to me in theory, but no, I'm good.
Look, Drew, I'm not hating. I'm not
Oh, yeah,
hating.
you are.
I
Yeah,
am
you
not
are.
hating. I have lost my gains since the pandemic, so I understand the pain, man. All I'm saying is don't beat yourself up over it. You
Oh,
good?
I'll get back. I'll get back to it. I just can't. I know you know this. I'm pretty sure you know this. I've had shoulder issues since I was in middle
Yes.
school,
Mhm.
and I haven't gone to a doctor. I haven't seen a doctor in 6 years. Welcome to America, where health insurance is incredibly stupid.
Yes.
So I'm at the point where, like, if I turn over in the middle of the night, I can't turn myself on my left side because I can't lift myself. So
Yeah.
I'm slightly nervous. But before the pandemic hit, and I was lifting, I was able to find a workaround for it. But now it's
Mhm.
so bad again that I don't even know if I'll be able to get to the point where my workarounds worked, if that makes sense.
Yep, that
But
works.
we'll see. We'll see. We'll see.
But I think that covers all of wrestling this week, right?
That does cover all the wrestling.
Okay, so we're gonna segue really quick. I'm just gonna say this one time.
Spoilers.
Spoilers for those who have not
Stop
seen WandaVision.
listening.
Stop listening now. Click off. Go away. Catch me later.
Pause.
Pause. Just beat it like Michael Jackson. Beat it.
Why
Get
don't
out
you
of here,
pause this
kid.
right here and go watch it if you can? Because you can watch it because it's on streaming service at any time.
Right. So we are going to discuss today's WandaVision episode. So in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4,
Fast
3,
count.
2. Well, I'm a quick ref.
Are you the Earl
One.
Hebner of spoilers?
The Earl Hebner of spoilers. I like that. Bye, Drew. We love you. But episode 7.
Oh,
My
has
God.
Drew not watched yet?
Probably not. So leave now, Drew, or forever hold your peace.
Spoilers.
Spoiler, end of spoiler warning. Episode 7. I'm just going to say that Munsters thing at the end was hilarious.
Yep.
I watched it at 2:00 this morning, and I almost yelped and woke up the people I'm staying with,
Yelp.
and I liked it. I enjoyed the ending.
Yep.
It was something I saw coming, and the way it was delivered still made me like it. It was enjoyable, especially the line of "You're not the only magical girl here," and that was
So
great.
let me ask a genuine question because I know you're a comic nerd. I have been a cinematic comic nerd.
Yes.
Within the last few years, getting into comics formal.
Yes.
With that said, do you think the common man or woman knew who Agatha Harkness was?
No.
Harkness going into this.
No.
So I talked to Dylan a lot. Dylan Stallone, one of my best friends on the planet. And he texted me today. He says, I'm seeing a lot of, oh my God, I'm marking out as Agatha Harkness tweets. And I don't understand it because I don't think the average person going into this show knew who Agatha Harkness was until they have watched an episode and have fallen into a YouTube rabbit hole
Yes.
of Comic Book Now or even just watching the first episode and be like, oh, I'd like to know more about Scarlet Witch and Vision, and going into comics and reading and, oh, okay, sure, there's Agatha Harkness, but she's not really involved in the Scarlet Witch's stories. She's more of a Fantastic Four character, if you follow the comics at all.
Well, she
So
is also.
she is. But if you think of her, I think I would say that she's more involved in the comic book world with the Fantastic Four. I think she plays a bigger part in their story.
More closely connected. Right, right.
Yes. So I think the marking out was like, I wasn't of the, oh my god, it's Agatha Harkness thing. I think I was more of the, oh, I knew Agnes was some fucked up person that was gonna fuck things up here. I'm not surprised to see she's this wizard. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yep. No, and I think that's perfectly said. For some people who don't know, they probably lost their shit, and that makes perfect sense because oh, there's another magic user. Whoa, great!
Right, now let me go learn more about her.
Right. And I just love the way it was revealed. And I know we're working backwards here,
Yeah.
but I'm literally going to say that and seeing Photon kind of debut and all of their powers and glory, especially with the superhero landing when she goes,
Yep.
"I'm not afraid of you, Wanda." It's like,
Yep.
yep.
And Wanda's eyes, she was like, oh shit.
Oh, wait, that didn't work on you? No.
Right. Oh damn,
No.
you got fucking powers too? Fuck.
Yeah.
It's getting very House of Emmy feel.
And that's what I think that's where we're leaning toward. I think
That's what we're going towards.
yes.
Yeah. I still think super spoilers here. I think we're leading to, I mean, in the comic, correct me if I'm wrong, it's been a while since I've read the comic. I believe it was the X-Men and the Avengers that gathered and said we need to put an end to Scarlet Witch. She's gonna kill everybody.
Yeah.
We gotta kill her. I think we're leading towards X-Men and the Fantastic Four taking that place here, because we're done with the Avengers here, unless we're doing the Young Avengers.
Well, we're doing the Young Avengers eventually.
Right, but we're not there yet.
Not in Phase 4.
I don't think we're introducing them in this show. So I feel like it's going to be the Fantastic Four and the X-Men, or some of the X-Men 1 or 2, going to that point.
Well, because we don't know if anyone in the Hex is going to develop powers like Monica Rambeau did.
Right, and we
that's
know
left
that
unexplored.
We know that she started developing, what was the word that Darcy Lewis used? Mutations in her DNA or whatever.
Yes.
So we know that she just brought a bunch of people into the Hex who have now done the same thing Monica has done. So she's going to create more mutants. So is she going to do the House of M thing where
it's inverted? Instead of saying no more mutants, I bring you mutants.
I want more mutants.
Yes.
Right, exactly. So are we going that route, or are we going no more mutants? I've created too many. You know, there's still a lot to be explored here.
Right.
Now, if we want to go back to the beginning of the show, from the first second of the show, when I read the title, I was like, oh god, we're doing it. We're doing this. And then the theme song played. I was like,
oh, The Office?
Yeah, I was like, okay, we're 2000s. It's The Office. Everybody knows Reed Richards is coming, or thinks they know Reed Richards is coming. It's going to be John Krasinski. Of course he's going to debut in an Office-type episode.
They got you.
They got me. I got.
Hook, line, and sinker, they got you.
I was like, we're doing it. Yes. And then she's sitting there in front of the camera. I was like, oh my god, she just gave the camera the Jim Halpert look. We're doing it. And then they didn't. It's like, oh man, Marvel, you're good. You knew what we were all going to think. You knew it. And you did it. And they were like, fuck you, idiots.
It's almost as if Marvel Studios has a super nerds on staff to say, right, hey, how's the internet going to react to this if we do X, Y, Z?
Like a thing for me to say. Imagine having people that are actually fans of your product writing your product, and not just writers.
Heaven the thought.
But like, isn't that true? Like,
you're correct. You should bring in people who like the product to contribute to the product.
Because they're going to write something that they like, which means they're probably going to relate to most of your audience, which is what Marvel has done. Come on, wrestling. Don't be stupid.
I was going to say, come on, DC too, but that's beside the point. The 19-hour Snyder Cut coming live.
So I don't watch movie trailers, so I haven't seen the trailer, so I don't know what to expect yet.
Okay. Do you want a quick spoiler of that?
Sure.
I'll give you the end. The Joker makes an appearance.
Okay.
In the nightmare scenario, he's going to be put into that part of Justice League.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah. And it's Jared Leto, long hair.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And he says the line of "We live in a society," which is hilarious because
I'm
that's been
fine.
a Joker meme for years. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I typically don't watch movie trailers. No particular reason. I just don't like to. If I'm excited about something and then a trailer comes out and it's like, oh, this kind of sucks. I don't want it that ruined for me. I want to be excited about something if I'm excited about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah. So, anyways, WandaVision.
Hmm.
Um,
So let me give my 2 cents
yes,
really
please.
quick, and then I'll let you finish it up. All I'll say is, for me, if you take away the Monica Rambeau part, the Agatha Harkness reveal part, and Darcy and Vision having their little heart to heart, where Vision realizes, wait a minute, I can fly. Let me get out of here, kind of
Right.
thing. It would have been an average episode.
Right, but all those parts you just listed, I think, were the entire episode.
But I mean, like those punch gut moments
Oh,
took
right.
a rather mundane episode, which would have been considered filler by most
Yep.
people watching, if it wasn't for those like three things.
Right, and I think those three things were the most important things in the episode, of
Yes,
course.
because I was bored until those parts happened.
Sure, yeah. But I think that was for the people that were like me, or was like, oh, we're doing it. It's The
Yeah,
Office. We're doing it. I think that's what that part was for. It
got
had
it.
a very episode 1 and 2 type feel to it, where it's like, all right, we're
Hmm.
just getting some things out of the way here. Um,
And allegedly next week's going to be a flashback episode for Agatha Harkness, so we get to see,
okay,
who she is, where she came from. So who
interesting.
knows?
Okay, I did not know that. That's interesting. I'm intrigued. I'm in. Yeah, I mean, I think that's what Marvel is going to do well here. We talked about it. Is did you really know who Agatha Harkness was, or did you know that Agnes was going to be some fucked up wizard?
Yeah,
Probably the latter. You probably just knew that Agnes was going to play some part in this. So I think it's cool to go back and explain her comic history. Um, but I think the episode was about 3 minutes shorter than the others, and it felt significantly shorter. Did you feel that way?
uh, no, I think they all feel short to me, to be quite honest.
Oh, see,
And
I felt like that one. Like I looked down, I was like, oh, I should still have about 20 minutes left in this episode, and then I was like, oh, we're done. It's like, huh?
well, they all have
Huh?
those like 10 minutes worth of credits where you're thinking you're going to get a full like 50-minute episode. And it's really 32, and the
Right.
rest are trailers and credits.
Also, people saying, oh, we got an hour episode for the next 3 weeks, and then it's 38 minutes. It's like, oh, you
I knew
guys.
we didn't. People,
Yeah, I didn't think so either, but I wanted to believe it.
but
Maybe the last
alas,
episode will probably be an hour, like they did with Mandalorian. It will be the longest episode.
yeah.
It will probably
So
be
be
two.
honest, who do you think it's going to be? The cameo at the end, the Skywalker esque cameo. Who do you want it to be, and who do you think it's going to be?
I see. I'm conflicted on this because I think who I'm going to say is who they would consider a Luke Skywalker type cameo, but I don't agree that it is. I think it's going to be Doctor Strange. I don't
Okay.
consider that to be a Luke. Did I say Luke? Luke Skywalker type
Hmm.
cameo? I don't think he is that, but I do think that's who it's going to be. Who do I want it to be? A combination of Reed Richards, Charles Xavier, and even a Spider-Man, a Toby,
One of
a
them.
Toby Maguire Spider-Man. We're fucking with timelines. I mean, Doctor Strange, of course, madness of the multiverse. I get it. That's probably what it's going to be, and that's okay. I just don't consider that on the same scale as Luke Skywalker. Um, but
But remember, we're thinking about as Star Wars fans, Luke Skywalker. For MCU fans, who would be a Skywalker esque, like diehard MCU fans, like myself, for instance,
yeah,
who would we think would be on that level? And that's why I keep saying Patrick Stewart as Charles
okay, yeah,
Xavier.
yeah, Patrick Stewart. But I think if you were to ask, I mean, of course, the real answer would be, well, Captain America or Tony Stark. Well, that's not happening. Um, because Tony Stark's like freshly dead. They're probably at the funeral right now.
It's like what, 10
Um,
days? This is
right.
happening
I,
10
I
days
think I
after.
think we talked that. I think we said it in this episode that we're like 3 weeks after
Yeah.
or something. So it's not going to be that. So yeah, I guess Doctor Strange could be that for MCU fans. But yes, you're right. It's probably Charles Xavier. Um, but again, Reed Richards could be considered that for some people because he's a big star.
In Marvel
If
Comics.
it's John Krasinski,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. if that makes sense.
But then you have to think, who's the actor that Bettany said he wanted to work with for so long in
I
that
wish I could find
interview?
that article. I will text you later. I need to remember that last name.
Well, I went down. I told you before. I went down the rabbit hole with the Nerdicons 2 weeks ago, and we xed out Sir Ian McKellen because they worked together on that Tom Hanks movie.
Yep.
So that there went that. Krasinski doesn't seem like a big enough star where Paul Bettany has been wanting to work with him for years.
Right. Right.
So I don't think it will be John Krasinski. That's why, simply put, I honestly think it's either going to be Charles Xavier or even Fassbender version of
Okay.
Magneto,
Yep.
where they pull him from another alternate dimension of Magneto to say, hey, I pulled him from 1984, 1995,
Yep.
and brought him to the multiverse. Or it probably might be Benjamin Cumberbatch, because I don't recall. The Vision did not have any scenes with Doctor Strange in that movie.
Yeah, I'm thinking. I'm still thinking Charles Xavier. I'm just running through what you just said in my head, and it's probably going to be that. But I also think, but see, I don't know. Is
I love
Tobey
it.
Maguire
It's
Spider-Man?
totally messed you up. It's totally messed you up.
I'm all messed up now. But is Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man
No.
big enough?
For
But
Paul, but again, Paul Bettany, long-time 30, 40-year career actor, right?
Yep.
He's saying, this is someone I've been dying to work with for
Right.
so long.
Yep.
40 years in the business.
Yep.
It's
Tobey
not.
Maguire's not it.
It's not Tobey Maguire. It's not Andrew
Yeah,
Garfield.
right.
It's not Tom Holland.
I still think we might get a Spider-Man, not Tom Holland Spider-Man. I think we might get a Spider-Man because we're running into Spider-Man 3, right? At the end of this year.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how we introduce that movie. And
because they transition into each other. So we have Doctor Strange going into Spider-Verse.
Right. And Black Widow is its own.
I don't care about that anymore.
Oh, see, I can't wait to see
I care for Taskmaster. That's it.
I can't wait to see that movie.
Why?
I love Black Widow. I've gone through her comics. If you guys don't have Marvel Unlimited, get it. Don't give me that look. I saw your eyes at me.
I'll do it again. No one before the Avengers, I don't think anyone said I love Black Widow before the Avengers. Before correct. Scarlett got cast as in the role, I highly doubt anyone ever said that.
No, but
I can tell you right now.
Her background now.
Yeah, I do appreciate the background, but I can tell you, Sarah, when she first started watching the MCU, hated Black Widow because she hates the come hither stare, the typical femme fatale, that look that Scarlett Johansson gives people.
Yeah.
Like, she couldn't stand her. But as she got to watch the MCU and saw her probably in Civil War, start off in Civil War, then Endgame, Infinity War, Scarlet, essentially, she came around. So I can see why some people may have come around to Black Widow, like you. Maybe it's a Scarlett Johansson thing for me.
Are you not a fan of her?
As an actress, typically I used to be, but I guess over the last maybe like 4 years, I've kind of meh.
Yep.
I think her best.
I'm also a big Jane Foster guy because she plays Padme Amidala. I knew that was going to get you. That's why I had to say it. It has nothing to do with it. Okay. Well, I'm excited for Thor: Love and Thunder. You should be too. Cool.
Keep talking, dude, because you lost me there when you brought up Jane Foster.
Why is that?
Jane Foster. That's all I'm going to say. Jane Foster.
She's the next Thor.
Okay, the comics Jane Foster. Give me that. Don't give me Natalie Portman's half in, half out, damsel in distress. Then all of a sudden now, as a make good.
Oh, I think we're getting
come back to the
comics.
Project. Yeah,
I think
then you're going to get Thor.
Jane Foster.
No,
you don't.
Remember back in the comics, she was a ambulance driver or a nurse or paramedic, and all of a sudden they made her a scientist. Which, look, I didn't mind it at first, but now it's, hey, did you know that she's a scientist? Did you know that she's a scientist? Now we have Darcy Lewis being more popular than Jane Foster because she's on WandaVision. Okay. And Kat Dennings for me has always been a soft spot. You well know this. Love me some Kat Dennings.
Yeah, I do too.
Love me some Kat Dennings.
It comes on CW all the time. I watch True Broke Girls all the time.
Yep. Love me some Kat Dennings since long before that. So yeah.
Kind of my guilty pleasure.
I know why. and I lived in Brooklyn, so I can attest to that to all that. So yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, well, this sounds like your other show.
Well, yeah, we'll segue into that other show another day. But any other MCU tidbits you want to throw out there before we say goodbye to the audience?
I just think it's a great year to be an MCU fan. Also, for all the people that made fun of people like us when we were young for being comic nerds and nerds like this, fuck you and you're welcome, because I see you all enjoying this now, and I'm watching you, and I remember you making fun of me, and now
And
you're
I'm
enjoying
judging you
this.
exponentially.
Right, and I am judging you because you made fun of me for this, and now you're saying that you're a fan. Fuck off.
That's a good way to end the show. That is Chip Kayfabe of the. Oh, I love you, dude. I missed you so much. You have no idea. We have been the Salty Chip Show. Find us on various social medias. He's at Chip Kayfabe. I am
The
at Damon G Show. Yes, sir.
the Chip Kayfabe.
Oh, well, on there it says Chip Kayfabe.
Well, I wrote my name.
Okay. Well, at the Chip Kayfabe on Twitter, which he may or may not answer you because he doesn't pay attention to social
I do see
media.
notifications. I just don't scroll.
Got it. And you can find the show on Instagram at Damon G Show, on twitch.tv/Damon G Show as well, and on YouTube. And apparently Twitter changed Periscope into something else. I think it's called Twitter Watch or something of that nature.
Yuck.
I don't care.
Are we on Twitter right now?
Yeah, we're being brought to Twitter right now.
Let's see.
You're literally killing it right now, dude. We don't do that anymore.
Okay.
There we go. See, look, Drew hooked us up, put us on air talking about WandaVision.
Oh, we did?
Yep.
Oh, it is called Twitter Watch. Yuck.
Yeah, well, I didn't come up with the names. But anyway, y'all, we've enjoyed doing this show. Hopefully we can do this again another maybe week and a half, 2 weeks. We'll see. We aim for half hour. We stretch it to 120. Please bear with us as we try to keep everything concise as possible. But Chip never lets me do that, so it's okay. Anything else, Chip?
I didn't know we went an hour and 20. Shit.
Yep, you were supposed to go. Don't you have to go do something work related?
I do.
Yeah. On that note, folks, we'll catch you next time.